inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out.
Brought to you by Refine.dev, open source retool for enterprise. I think that was kind of funny. It kind of somewhat transitioned how I wanted to. So let me bring up the banner. Welcome back, Perfect Peeps, to Code with Coding Cat. First of all, so today we're going to talk about Refine. It's an open source tool for retool. I think my special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself and give us a 5-minute on Refine?
Yeah, hello. I'm Batuhan, tech lead at Refine. Today I'm going to introduce Refine framework, and we are going to build a simple application to show about Refine. But first of all, what's Refine? Refine is an open source framework for building data-intensive applications, mostly like internal applications, dashboards, admin panels. It's React-based framework, and like at the moment we are quite popular in at least React open source. Open source. Then we have like 20K GitHub stars, 15K developers, also more than 10,000 deployed applications, and already on production. How we started Refine is it's been 2 years since we are developing Refine full time. We are backed by European VCs initially, and last year we are accepted to Y Combinator summer batch.
I have to ask more about your Y Combinator experience. That's pretty awesome.
So it was like last investment we got, and then like we have some runway. How it started is actually we first version of Refine started from our own needs, so we didn't wanted to like build a tool to like I don't know, be famous or get attraction. But initially, we were constantly building enterprise applications for big companies. So most of the projects, of course, need some kind of internal web app and dashboard and admin panel. So we were constantly building this kind of applications. So we thought like there should be easier and better way to do that, because existing solutions, low code, no code, and stuff like that, they're nice and all in the beginning, but if you have more complex requirements, and so they cannot like really help you in the long run. So initially they are nice first week, but as complexity of the application grows, they cause more trouble than it's worth. So first version of Refine was internal library. By the way, as a company, we already had this habit of publishing open source packages before Refine. We have more than 15 packages with more than 1 million downloads on npm and npm already. So this was started. Okay, let's make it good enough. So share with community. First version of Refine was kind of good, but not quite there. So it was like first iteration. So second iteration, we wanted to address issues in the version 1. For example, this is where we decided to make Refine headless, because core of the Refine is React based but agnostic. So you can mix and match different libraries for different applications. Like you can use Material UI, you can use Ant Design, Tailwind, whatever you want. Initially, it wasn't like that. So we once we decided to make Refine headless, so then we followed this mix and match approach, that you are not locked into certain library or vendor or anything. So you can just still deliver things fastly, but without compromising quality and flexibility. This was our initial position to build that, because uh, low code, first of all, there is no like GitHub version control. You cannot, like, someone breaks something and you cannot easily know who did it, and there is no like normal pipeline. But why low code is good for some use cases, because you can quickly build something. So our target is to, okay, let's still quickly build something without compromising flexibility. So we still own the code, we can do whatever we want, but we still deliver it fast. So because enterprise requirements are high, like you need to add authentication, not only, also authorization. Some users cannot edit, some users cannot delete, and things like that. Then you need to, in the UI, developers usually don't like that, actually. But one maybe good thing about low code, that if you are not a technical person, you can still do something, but up to some point. Again, for example, if you do something wrong, obviously some technical people need to spend more time fixing the
Yeah, that's
problem.
always a problem.
So in the long run, we like low code, no code. We have different approach, but benefits are the same, and we also wanted to continue these benefits in the long run, not just first MVP, first version, or something like that. So yeah, basically, uh, story of Refine, it's that.
Yeah, I love it. I wanted to show off this too, just kind of in my mind, like pictures always help everything, and this really shows where kind of Refine comes into play between the authentication and your back end and front end platforms as well. So it's pretty cool. I do want to demo. Well, let me show you a couple different kind of things that Refine can do out here. So different dashboards. By the way, I love whoever did the front end on this site. It's super dope. So here's kind of some of the breakdowns. So it gets into like how you can actually specify the menu items, and of course, it's out in the React side of things here, and just use list and how you can pull in data. So it's really cool to be able to use this low code, no code approach to things, and like be able to have all of that data saved, just as you were saying. The cool part down here, if you look at all of these different connectivity points between front end UIs and what you can actually abstract this into with Next.js and Remix, I mean, it's just endless. So it's really, really cool to be able to pull all of these different ones in. You also were kind enough to set up a little demo site for us on what we'll be building today. So today, this is kind of it's obviously somewhat generic, but it still gives us our filters and things like that, and allows us to build this in 60 minutes while still being able to learn more about Refine and things like that. And we'll also include authentication as we kind of come into it here as well. So that's what we're gonna build as we go through it. I am kind of curious how you got started with Refine, though. Do you have just a couple minutes before we shift gears? I'm curious about your journey and what it takes to be a Refine dev.
Yeah, it's, at least for me, pretty exciting, because I have some open source packages, unpublished repositories, and all. Like, I already love to do some open source, and on top of that, you do it with your team, and sharing the similar ambitions, and it's really exciting, actually, for me. But of course, there is like, not only, we are not only coding, but there is also community part of that, like giving support to people as much as possible. But of course, we cannot like provide support for 1000 users one by one, so we try to automate most of the things, and actually we try to make it so clear and obvious in our documentation, in our examples, wherever. We want people to not need to ask question. So like,
Right.
because if people asking the same question over and over again, this means like we couldn't explain the concept or something nicely. So that's actually why we recently created guides in our documentation. Like, we have API reference if you want to get like just basically interfaces, what they do, explain. But in our guides, we actually explain the concepts behind decisions, how you can mix and match. So once you go through the guides, yeah, general concepts, for example, goes through all of them, explain. So idea behind these guides is that once you read through them, you will be able to answer your own questions by reading them, because you should have context and like generally architecture, uh, so it should be clear. Hopefully, actually, after this, like we kind of get slightly less questions about. We have Discord community, of course, and then we also try to provide support there to people. So like it's generally exciting, and also it's not like working with private repository that no one will ever see, and
Yeah.
you can change the thing the way you want, and like because you cannot randomly decide to delete something and "Hey, I want to rename this, it's a bad naming, so let's get rid of that." You cannot do that because like maybe 400,000 downloads, so you don't want to break people's code, obviously. So you need to do like more minor improvements continually and without compromising, of course, features, and while still improving. So like long story short, it's like really good experience for me, actually. So yeah.
I love it. That's really cool. Okay, we're going to take a quick ad break to introduce folks a little bit more about Refine, and then when we come back, we'll be building our application.
Refine is an open source React framework for enterprise. It's a headless solution for all types of CRUD-heavy applications, such as admin panels, dashboards, and internal tools. Low-code tools shine initially, but they lack the required flexibility for complex use cases. Teams can choose to start from scratch for greater control, but this often results in project delays and technical debt. Refine is the sweet spot between the two alternatives. With Refine, teams can rapidly build robust applications without compromising flexibility.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Svan. All right. So that's everything we know about Refine. And now we're going to start building the application that we showed off. And just if you're just now joining, I just want to show that one more time. So here is the app that we'll be building with Refine. So you're going to walk me through, I hope, and
Yeah,
we'll get
of course.
started. I know you kind of gave me a couple cheat commands here, so I'm going to pop open VS Code real quick. And then, so just guide me along at this point, and
Yeah.
I'll copy and paste if you want anything of those commands added too.
So let's start by initializing the application. So I want to clarify that this application we're going to build, like we have many examples like that, but for demonstration purposes, we are going to build it from scratch with some help from our documentation and like our CLI, which saves time, but we will start from scratch to better explain the concepts
Awesome.
behind that. Yeah, first thing we're gonna do is we already showed the application. So let's start creating a new application with npm create refine app, and we are gonna use starter with template.
Cool.
So this template just what you get if you create a new application with, but plus added refine core package.
I love that. That's so cool. I don't know why, but I always geek out over like CLI, like artistry. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, this is kind of old school, so we wanted to build that and like combine it with this deal with it meme. with
That's really
glasses.
cool. I'll do code and then slash dot slash
Yeah,
and then dash R does it recursively. So there we go. Awesome. So it's got our nice little Vite project going on here. I see a Vite config, our source files. It's got app.tsx.
Yeah, like
Sweet.
it's pretty much empty. So let's just start by starting the application. Let's go step by step. npm run dev, you can say.
Cool.
So now we should have a server running already.
I, of course, opened it in the wrong window. 1 second. There we go.
Yeah, now we have like nice welcome page with without anything actually. So we are gonna start building in this application. Uh, we are gonna use React Router for routing because we will have multiple pages,
Okay.
and UI library. We are gonna use Ant Design. It's one of our supported UI libraries. So I want to explain this concept with supported. Sometimes people get impression, don't you support Tailwind, don't you support that. Actually these libraries just are bridge connection between Ant Design and our refined core. So
Okay.
they are like kind of bindings, but in theory you can do the same thing with just using core. But this for example Ant Design integration just saves us some time, which we will show. So let's start with doing our first integration, routing. You can run npm run refine add integration. So let's go with React Router.
Okay.
So we can check the diff to give idea, like we could actually build it ourselves. This is just to save time. And
Yeah. So it looks like it just added React Router 6 and React DOM, Router DOM.
yeah, this is like we have router provider because refine, as I mentioned before, refine core is headless. So for Next.js we have refine dev Next.js router. For Remix we have Remix router, and this is React router. What it does actually, it helps us understand resources, routes, and their relationships with the data, underlying data, and pages, and many other features. We are gonna continue with that in a moment. So basically, what it did is just wrap browser router, refine, we pass router provider, and we still have index as index route as welcome page. One thing I wanted you to do, I will explain it later. Maybe line 12, we can move it into. It's actually nice. Actually, okay.
Okay.
Now we can see the application. Nothing should change. We will see that. But for example, we added catch-all route. For example, if you go to random route, you should see some error page. And this is our error page from core package. So let's continue with Ant Design integration.
Awesome. Okay.
You can run the same command. And this time, let's, go with Ant Design.
Nice. I probably
Yeah.
should have committed.
So if we check app TSX again, so one thing is different. If you go back to browser, for example, now we should have a better error page. It's following Ant Design, using Ant
Nice.
Design components and everything. As I mentioned, you can build it yourself, but just save time. And on the left side, you see a cider with nothing in it for now, and with default title and all. And we are gonna continue building that one.
Cool.
If you go back to code again,
Sure.
of course it's welcome page. Let's comment out notification provider. It's line 23 at the bottom. Yeah, we will enable it later, but I want to show why it's useful in the
Okay.
future. So next thing we're gonna do, let me check the
And I think you had told me like a lot of this is in a tutorial and quick start, not necessarily exactly, but like you can find a lot of this information in here as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So we actually, my colleague Ali, he built a great tutorial, and like not only explaining concepts really good, but it's also uh, like there are a lot of great engineering stuff going on there, because there are questions, and if they cannot answer, there's a button to fix the code, and then code is actually real time code, reloads the page, and like if you do something, it's not just mock-up that stays there. So
Sure.
basically you can write whole application there.
Nice.
So
We do have one quick question while we're
yeah,
out here. What about Next.js's app directory router support? Do you guys have that already?
yeah, actually we recently released this app router support. There is an example in examples directory with Next.js project is already using app router, but at the moment we don't have, like, for example, at some parts you need to do use client, because we are trying to catch up with community here. If you go to src path folder, you're gonna see app route there. Yeah, so it's using layout tsx, and of course there are
And
some.
I'll put that out in the comments so you guys can get to it too. There you go. Cool. All right, so sorry, I didn't mean to completely cut it off where we were. So we were just we added this, commented out the notification. What's the next step?
Next step is we need some data so we can show something. I send you link here, api.netsjs query.refine.dev GraphQL. So let's go there. There is a
If
nice
I,
GraphQL playground.
there we go.
So if you go click docs on the right side, very right side. So it's typical GraphQL queries mutations. We are going to connect it through data provider. So data provider concept in Refine is it's a connection between your data source and Refine.
Nice.
So instead of writing inline, I don't know, parameters and endpoints and stuff like that, there is a centralized concept object called data provider. You can have multiple data providers as well. For example, for blog posts, you want to use GraphQL. For categories, you want to use REST or whatever. So we will use this one for now. For that, we already have documentation. Here, let's go there and follow the steps. We are going to install a couple of
this one.
I sent the link, Nest.js query.
There we go.
Yes, this one. Yeah. So first, let's start with installing our data provider, Refine Dev Nest.js query, and GraphQL tag package. GraphQL tag package is used to generate GraphQL queries in a type-safe manner. Yeah, that's great.
And anyone watching, if you can't see any of the code, if it's not big enough, just let me know and I can increase some things, even though it's starting to hurt my eyes already.
Okay,
All right, cool.
let's continue with our imports. Let's import data provider from Nest.js query. Actually, it's also in the documentation. If you scroll down a bit, you're gonna see, yes, a bit up.
Ooh. Ah,
This like second line imports
Got
data
it.
provider, GraphQL client.
Let me get rid of this for a second. We'll do it there. And then this is within Refine. We put this.
Data provider, and there is a line in between them where we initialize client. So this client is you are responsible for passing client to us. It's a decision to make it flexible, because if you use any internal client to connect, you cannot add your custom headers or authentication or anything.
There, I just wanted to hopefully put that in that. There we go. Okay, so save that and put in data connection. All right.
Let's check if our app is still alive. All is good. Yeah, still pretty much nothing. So let's continue with adding our route finally. Let's create in maybe pages folder, blog posts, and
Sorry, so like a new.
yeah, you can create a folder like pages. It's just to follow, like you can put it anywhere, but yeah, blog dash posts.
TSX.
It's a folder. We are gonna
The
add
whole thing is
list
a folder.
list
Sorry.
TSX inside there. You
Gotcha.
can just add blog post list component also. Doesn't matter. Yeah, let's add list TSX file.
Okay.
And then we can initialize a typical React component just to say, hello, this is list, just to make sure we export const.
I used to have these. It's been a minute. Sorry. Maybe it's just okay. We'll just do this. Actually, I could probably copy an example. Maybe.
This one we have some queries, but not. I can give you that. Maybe
We can write it out too. So just
Right.
export list.
div
Oops.
something like that.
Const list equals something like this.
Just return a div, say hello. At the moment, we are gonna put something in there. Yeah. So since we are using React Router, let's add a new route after line 37.
Okay.
Yeah, let's remove in the, okay, we can keep it also. We need to pass path to it. I can give you like some
Where
code.
is okay. Here I'll put it below here. Maybe a list from. Is there shortcuts or no?
I think you can do where is app.tsx? It should import it automatically. Yeah. Blog posts list. Yes, but it's not default export.
Oh,
I think
yep.
you need to destructure it. Yeah, and if you do command space, it should autocomplete whatever you exported there.
There we go ish. Maybe I need to change this to
Yeah, some capital.
behave a little bit.
And it shouldn't be indexed. Let's give it a path, like blog posts, for example, with slash in the beginning, not in the end. Blog dash posts. All right,
I
great.
think
So
I'm not exporting the correct type, but I think maybe we'll be okay.
what does it say?
Here,
List.
I'm gonna actually copy your example so I do this correctly.
Yeah,
Now
something
I'll
like that.
do change this around. Not for now, just so we're all following along. Sorry about that. I didn't see that you had pasted this.
Worries.
Okay.
No worries.
Now we're probably in a better spot.
Yeah, great. So if we navigate to dash blog posts, so we have a page. Great. It's a step in the right direction.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. So let's continue with creating, like in a typical ant design application, obviously you need to create some table. For example, let's import table from ant d. I'm
Is
gonna
that within the blog lists?
yeah
Okay.
at the top of this file, something like this.
Oh, I like cheating. This is good.
My
Table.
editor VS Code actually auto completes all the time. I just write table and
Oh, that's
command,
nice.
command dot, and it just imports it.
That's one nice thing. Like when you're kind of away from the, I love Tailwind. I'll say that first of all. But like when you have a nice UI collection or whatever you want to call it, and the tooling that surrounds it as well, that's really cool. Okay, so we're gonna return table.
Yeah, and let's have for that it should be sufficient. Just let's check. So we have table with no data, so we need to populate some data into this table.
Okay.
How are we going to do is, so far we already have data provider, so we can connect to our data. But what are we going to do? So Refine has hooks based architecture. So for example, we are going to get a list of blog posts. So
Okay.
we have hook called use list. So we are going to use that. Import use list with capital L. Yeah, I want to show you that. So one thing I want to like stop for a moment and explain that Refine Dev Core has use list, and you can use it here. Actually, no worries. But so we have table component here from Ant Design. So
Okay.
actually, to make it work easier with Ant Design, we have use table hook imported from Refine Dev and the package. Let's use that. The difference is that it takes care of getting data from Refine Core and making it compatible with Ant Design table.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
yeah, the bottom line is that use table, let's say from and I send you import something like that.
Oops. Oh, sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah, we can remove use list now. It's not needed.
And so
Yeah.
use table is, like you said, wrapping that kind of use list in ants.
Yeah, like connects to our data,
Yep.
fetches data, then makes it available to Ant Design table,
Cool.
and makes it compatible in a way that Ant Design can render this data correctly. So let's use that hook. You can start with really simple, let's say const, and let's destructure it with it's table props. We are gonna fetch table props from there. Yes, use table. So first thing we need to do is Refine has like thing called resource. Resource is basically entity that connects different pieces of providers and application together. So in here, we are going to use resource to connect to our correct, for example, API endpoint. So let's pass to use table hook. Let's pass with like
object
resource. Yeah, resource block dash posts. For now, let's do that. So you can pass string here. Resource is a string block dash posts.
The uppercase.
Just block dash posts like that.
That. I get close.
Like this. Posts.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a string and
perfect.
Yeah, so let's continue with our GraphQL query. If you navigate back to documentation, we already have the query there, so we don't need to write it ourselves. At the top, blog post, we can copy the first query and its import. And like obviously we can put it anywhere, but as a best practice, we choose to put it in a separate file called queries.ts. So
Okay.
let's initialize a new file called queries.ts. Here we have ID, title. Let's add status. Yeah, after, and let's fetch category ID as well in this example in the list. And also content we don't need for list because we are not going to show content, but we can add category ID, for example. Yes, we have created that ID, title, status, category. Okay, great. So this is telling I want to use this GraphQL query to connect. So let's pass it to our hook. So you can use this syntax as a second parameter of the resource. Let's put a comma, and there's a meta parameter, and meta parameter has inside it there is another prop called GQL query, but it's inside meta. Start
I
an
see.
object. Yes, great. So it's auto completed already. So I think you can say posts list. Yeah, it's already command dot should auto import that.
Sweet.
Yeah, yeah, that's all.
And then table props, are we destructuring those on the table?
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Makes sense.
With 3 dot in the beginning. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry. Cool.
So if you go back to our application, we have some data. As you can see, we already got pagination and everything. And
That's really
if you
cool.
want to check network tab, it already makes requests and all, but obviously we don't show anything yet, like because
Right.
it's just table. So
Just
from
again.
here, we can start adding. Let me give you like example like this one. We need to add table.column data index ID and so on. So we show something. So we need to add children to yeah.
Is this? Oh, it's directly to no,
Yeah, it's self-closing. Yeah,
self-closing. Okay.
but of course you need to close table as well, I think.
Why? I think this is off for some reason. There we go.
Oh, I forgot to copy this another
Yeah, no
parenthesis.
worries. It's all good. So we have
Great.
ID. What else do we want in here?
Let's do the same with title, for example. Let me
Title,
send you that
okay.
as well to save some time. This time I copy pasted correctly, hopefully.
It's all good. Like that. So I
Yeah,
notice this data index, that is the data that's coming in. That's the field from the GraphQL.
from response, and title is what users see on the
And
top
so like I
as a
could just
column.
call this
Column,
thing
yeah,
Alex even, and that's
exactly,
what we would
exactly.
get. Cool.
Yeah. So let's do the same for status as well. So it's here. It's kind of like boring part, but we're
Yeah.
gonna do something like so. We if you go back, we will see status as well, of course, and all. But let's add something slightly different. So this time we're gonna add category, but this time category is not main field in our response. So it's like another entity. For this, we have slightly different syntax, but again, it's not about refine, it's about ant design.
Okay.
So we have this one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So it's an array coming in.
Yeah, like for this entity, go to category and inside it show me title because
Yep.
it's human readable. You don't want to show ID, it's not understandable.
So
And
if you wanted ID as well, would you put another one of these in here and like put ID next to it?
Yeah, exactly. Let's try that.
Okay.
For example,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
So we have this one. Let's put created at finally. For that, without going too much into details, if you edit, yeah, let's check that. So it's not really human readable again. Like it's date what with ISO format,
Yep.
which APIs can understand, but we can make it more readable for users. For that, actually, you can import date field component from refine dev and the package again. Uh, Again, of course, you can do the same thing yourself, but we just add this to make it easier for people. And finally, you can add render prop to render custom column. Yeah, it's prop of, yeah, that should do the work. I think I missed something again.
It's all good. I
Yeah.
think it's just the object. Created.
Let me send you it again.
Am I missing an extra one?
This one, okay. This should work, hopefully. The
Okay.
last one I sent you.
Let's see.
And of course, we need to enclose the component column also. So just another.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So yeah, it's gonna look slightly better.
So
if we
you're
go
essentially
back to
passing a function and passing the value in for created at, and you're passing that value over to the date field, and it's going to format it correctly.
yeah.
Cool.
So
I like it.
I think we can move it a bit further with format LLL3 capital L. I think it's even more human readable.
Wrong
To
case.
date field
Yep.
component.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's
Yeah,
very nice.
it's better.
Does LLL do local time zone by chance?
Sorry, local time zone?
Yeah, so
Uh,
like I would see it in Eastern and you would see it. I don't even know what time. Are you 6 hours ahead? I think.
yeah, I'm GMT plus 3.
Yeah,
So
so
we
you're
have
8 hours.
like 9 hours in between.
Yep.
So of course our API returns UTC time zone. So we can you can use this time zone to format yourself like with anything. So yeah, I think this should be returning UTC, but
Okay.
depends on end design with maybe some day.js, some library you can
Sure.
convert it to user's time zone.
Okay. Cool.
Great. Now we have a list page that we can paginate and see some records and categories and stuff. So let's add some sorting here. Let's say I want to sort by ID. So how would you go about that if you weren't using Refine? So you are making request to your API. You need to keep a state because if sorting parameter changes, you need to update this state and you need to update your API request, refetch it, make sure it renders, and like that's a lot of work. With Refine, it also takes some time. So let's go to blog posts list. And first one to do ID, let's add sorter prop, which is Boolean. You can just pass sorter after ID.
Sorry, like right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorter. Yeah, let's yeah, just like that. So by default it's true. If you do
Okay.
send nothing, it sends true. So let's go back to app and let's click it, ID column. So you can do the sorting already with just one prop, and it
That's
takes
cool.
care of refetching data and re-rendering and updating records, making requests, and all that. Again, let's add filter by statuses, for example. For that, we are not going to use something special. It's also Ant Design's default. Like it's not about Refine at this point because Refine already provides compatible props to table, you just say, let me check, filters prop to status. And let me give you that. You need to pass this array. So you can find it in Ant Design docs. And so let's explain a bit before we move on. This is again not about refine, it's Ant Design. Text is what users see, value it what goes to your API, right?
Cool.
So if you go back to our app again, right side of status, now we have draft, published, rejected. You can click and now they are listed. Of course, it sends, if you choose multiple, it sends or query. For example, let's say just draft
That's
and
cool.
publish. Yeah, I don't know if you don't want users to send multiple filters. You can say filter multiple false. It's gonna be converted into radio instead of checkboxes. Again, this is with Ant Design. Like you just do your stuff with Ant Design, it's gonna handle the rest.
Nice.
Yeah, only
I love
draft.
that.
Yeah. So these examples were relatively simple.
I'd love
So
to even show off like the query when that goes across. So if I do published and hit
yeah,
OK in our network
let's
call,
see.
like this is the craziness of this network call, right? So
You can check payload, for example.
yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. So this is what actually comes out for that network call when you're coming across. And so if we hit the pagination, we get a new one, same deal, but it's paginating it with an offset. That's really cool.
Yeah, like this was the whole point, the reason we started refine, because this stuff are repetitive but important. You don't want to have an application without pagination, but you just will do same thing. Then you say I can share it here, but if you want to do slight change in a private app, so you need to like make 10 smart engineers discuss independently like for 10 hours straight to come up with best solution. And like you don't want to do that, so everyone has different ideas, and like we kind of provide this unified interfaces, contracts, and as long as you satisfy refined core requirements, then it's all good. Because if you want to do anti integration, you know what anti wants, you know what refine wants, so we just get, I don't know, data from core, make it understand Ant Design. So this integration is just, as I said, like bindings, basically some like in connections between these different libraries.
And we'll probably get to this, but is there a drag and drop equivalent of this coding side of this?
Yeah, we have CRM example. Uh, you can check that, but again, this drag and drop we don't have is empty, but we were using a library. I don't remember React. What was that? Jira open sourced Jira's package.
Oh, okay.
So
Yep.
we have CRM example. Let me check that. Where is it?
I think in the live demo, there's one example.crm.refine.dev.
Yeah.
Okay.
Example.crm refine.dev.
So if we were
So
to
yeah, of course, like we have simple walkthrough here. So if you go to Scrum board, you can already see on the left side. So it's the same thing. Of course, it's public API, so people add random stuff for testing. So you can do drag and drop, and actually, you can find the full source code here. Let me send the link so you can share with everyone. It's this one. So you can see the source code here. It's all open. You can see, review, and just play with it.
Nice. I'll share that out with everybody as well. We do have a comment in the meantime. Person wanting to contribute to the project. Any steps to easily like come in and start supporting that side of it?
So it's not any different than any open source project. You go to issues, see if there's something you would like to work on, and in our documentation we have contributing guide, of course. Uh,
The
we have
issues.
some commit convention and some checks that we already explained. Let me send the link.
Here's those. I think the contributing is right here. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we already explained everything that. Make sure you follow commit convention because, like, it's like some people send some commits and they spare their time. It's all nice, but CI failed, so you don't want to like knock them like, hey, you need to update your commit structure, something like that. We fixed for them, but it makes our lives easier if you follow the convention. But
For
again,
sure. Do you have any examples where you're building, so like low code, no code? Do you have any examples where we're actually building out like a Next.js application and where those buttons go, or is it mainly the back end that we would put those things?
yeah, actually, I want to show you something. So let's go back
Okay.
to our list page.
Yep. Sorry, my fingers got off the keyboard. There we go.
So if you're gonna use Next.js, literally nothing changes about this file. It's exact same API. Maybe you need to add use client directive at the very top of the page uh, if it's client only or something. But that's the thing with Refine. So let's say imaginary case that you're gonna migrate to Next.js. You're gonna create Next.js application instead of pages, blog posts, and importing route path in there. You're gonna create src app blog post page tsx. The
Gotcha.
code is exactly same, but in the, of course, layout tsx, instead of React router v6 router provider, you're going to import Next.js router provider. So like using Refine is no different other than some configuration on the shell app, like entry points or something like that. You can use the same with Remix as well, actually. Like it's no different. Like Refine code is the same. As we mentioned, we provide like centralized contract and centralized API for different kind of libraries. But at the end of the day, at this point, other than it's really no one see that coming. That server component stuff, like it makes everything like running SQL queries on React files. But again, like maybe you need to add use client directive to the top of the page.
Yep.
We, by the way, we try to support these server only components, client only components, hybrid components in our latest Refine Dev Next.js router release. But the thing with that is when you provide so many integrations and different libraries support, for example, there is inconsistency between Ant Design and Next.js. So people starting project with Refine using Next.js and Ant Design then ask us, hey, Ant Design in the, I don't know, like server side rendering doesn't work as expected, but we are basically just using Ant Design. It's not about just Refine, but we do our best to like provide support as well. But yeah, that's one thing we had to like explain over and over again, that if you are using Ant Design, if you are using Next.js, you need to check respective docs because like Refine just puts them together. But it doesn't mean we don't provide any support at all. Like we try to make it easier at FAQ, questions, answers, and things like that.
So what from here, the next step for a person would be to like hook up their back end. What is the easiest way to kind of go about that? Would you suggest diving into like, hey, I have a Supabase, can I connect out to it? Like we did a lot of GraphQL on here for API that you guys already have stood up. What's the process that typically you would take to connect some data points?
Yeah, like you need to uh, check our data providers, see if you find something that is useful for you. we have many integrations for Supabase, for example. But if you have some API that is not Supabase or not consistent, so you can create your own data provider. Basically, you need to in this data provider, we are sending parameters from Refine again in a consistent way and giving you all the information you need. Then we are asking you to return data in this structure. Actually, if you want to check, I can send you a CLI command npm run refine
Sure.
at provider data. So if you run this command, we will give you like some boilerplate data provider. Alijan, one of our engineers, built that. So it's all that. So if you go providers, data provider, so we, with nice typings and all, we give you. So there's a get list, resource, pagination, filters, all provided you in a type safe manner. So
Gotcha.
you need to fill in between, like make sure your API gets correct request, make sure you return array of data for this one or whatever, and then the rest Refine will handle. So you don't need to care about invalidation, refetching, refreshing, or stuff like that. We will take it from there. So you just need to provide this interface. But also, let me check link.
What about ones that are a little less structured data? So when we start to talk about MongoDB or Firebase, is that something that you guys have dove into yet?
Yeah, nice thing about open source, we have refined Firebase open source library. I'm not sure if they updated to use latest version of Refine. For MongoDB, in our enterprise packages, we provide connections to not just MongoDB but any kind of database. Like we provide some solution. The problem with that, you need to provide a consistent API if you want to build something quickly, but that's usually a problem. So we have some tools for our enterprise users that you can use. Basically, you give your database, Postgres, MongoDB, whatever. We built BFF backend on the fly
Okay.
that is 100% compatible with Refine. So for that, all you need to do is just provide your API URL. API also generated by our tools for that. But for other cases, let me check. We have a lot of integrations actually. Data provider. If you go packages, Airtable, AppWrite, GraphQL, REST, Strapi, Supabase, Crude, Hasura, so on. And in the end, we also have community data providers list there. And of course, there are a lot of data providers that aren't published open source because like people are using for their own internal API or something like that. But like if you know the structure of API requests responses, that you can build it easily. So there is a like one cool package I like. It was written with Go.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so yeah, from your definitions models, it builds GraphQL backend similar to what we have here, and then this folk, I don't remember his name, sorry, but he also uh, created a data provider for that. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. So not to put you on the spot too much, but I know you guys compare yourselves a lot to Retool, and Retool kind of has more of a graphical user interface for like a no code type of solution. Is that something that's in the works, or is it possible to do that in the enterprise version?
Uh, so we position ourselves as an alternative to Retool, but that's not because we are no code solution. We are
Okay.
low code or just enough code solution. But the reason we compare ourselves with Retool is that what is the main benefit of Retool? We solve the same problem in a different ways, but at the same time, like same speed, but with more flexibility, with more quality, and more consistently. So like people use Retool because they need to build a dashboard page overnight and something quickly. So we still provide you that. You can still dashboard overnight quickly, but uh, 2 weeks later, 2 months later, you can do any modification to your API, unlike like UI tools or something like that. So we solve same problem in a slightly different way. But the thing, like our solution is just not to save the day, one day, next day, but like entire life cycle of application. We got you. As I mentioned, you see that we have CLI commands to make things faster and things like that. That you can write it yourself, but we most of the things we cover your use case. So again, you can build a dashboard and pages or admin panel in a day again, but you will have version control, you will have authentication, authorization, all that stuff actually.
Perfect. Yeah. Do we have I have about 30 minutes left on our live coding session. Was there any interest in adding that authentication page that we kind of showed off? Is that possible?
Yeah, let's continue with that. Like
Cool.
I wanted to add edit page, but we
Oh,
don't need to
okay.
follow. Let's add authentication then. Let's continue
Either
with
way,
that.
whatever you want to go to next, that'd be great.
Yeah, so let's say npm refine add provider, refine npm run refine add provider. Let's run this script. And here, let's pick auth provider with space.
Okay.
Yeah, enter now. So yeah, you can use the default path.
I wonder if I should delete.
Yeah. No, you don't need
No?
to do anything.
Okay.
You didn't import that. It
All right.
can stay there, it's not a problem.
Perfect. All right.
Let's go also our auth provider. So of course, we're not gonna implement like requests and responses, cookies stuff, just to give you idea that for example in login, what you know is login accepts params that are email and password. Let's assume that users send correct password. Let's write very secure code here. Let's use local storage.
Very secure. I
Just
like
to
that.
give idea, like of course it's not like real world. Instead
Sorry.
of, you can replace line 11.
Okay. Gotcha. I see where
Yeah,
the secure comment is.
Boiler, very secure, our provider. Yeah, of course you can return success, false, error, and stuff. Let's not go there.
Okay.
Second thing we want to do, so let's say we write our very secure params into local storage. So let's go to check method. Let's skip register as well. In our check method, here where you need to implement your checking authentication logic. So let's write another one, which is very secure.
That sounds great.
Yeah, let's just read auth and let's just say if not auth, that can stay. That can stay.
Oop, sorry.
As an else case. Yeah. Yeah. So okay. Let's implement logout again. Just this one, remove item of.
Cool. So normally, since I work for an authentication company, I should say like, don't do this.
Yeah, obviously.
As we're joking about, like, call out to your OIDC endpoints and do the full authentication.
Yeah. By the way, in our CRM example, we have next auth example as well, which is like real solution, unlike here. But here in a limited time, we want to provide concept. Like at the end of the day, you validate something, make request, and write it somewhere. Of course, you need to have course rules and like cookies and all this security stuff. But we are keeping it simple here. And for get identity, let's also have hard-coded return definition, which is you.
I like that the avatar was set. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think you can return remove the second return. So now we have like very secure authentication provider.
Okay.
Then we need to tell Refine that we have our provider, so they need to use it. Like exactly, maybe you guess. We need to pass another prop to Refine component. Let's go out provider and just write the same thing. I think it will import, right?
I think I got the right
Yes,
one. Yep.
did. So now we have our provider. So Refine knows if you ask to login, it will do login. If you do check, it will check and do this stuff. But the problem is we didn't wrap anything with that. So we just tell Refine that if someone asks to check this route, use this, but we didn't tell. So for that, we have authenticated component. You can see this one. You can import it from Refine Dev Core library. Yeah, what we need to do here is you can see at line 36. So we have themed layout and all, right? Let's, on top of that, wrap this all themed layout with authenticated components. And we need to pass key as well to that. Let's say, in case you may have multiple, there were some bugs that different authenticated components doesn't log out, or so we need to provide unique key. It's React requirement. So you can say, I don't know, some string authenticated routes or something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Cool.
So now we read. Now, okay, we have nothing here. If you go back to app, we have nothing. If you try to refresh, like you cannot go there to blog posts route. So it redirects you to login page, which doesn't exist now. So let's go with that. So line 34, we wrapped our authenticated routes, right? So let's go to closing element of 34 after 46. Yeah, let's add a new route. Obviously give it path like /login as a prop to this route component, not as children, is same like, yeah, path login, and we need to pass, yeah. So for that, again, you can build your authentication page on everything, but we also have like some baked cooked solution for that. You just need to import this auth page component. I think you can just type it here. It should import.
Okay.
By the way, I want to mention that Refine Dev Core also had this component, but obviously without any styling, just with business logic. But again, like following the same logic, auth page, Refine Dev and design package. Yeah, this doesn't look really good. So if you go back to update import from core to Refine Dev and design. So let's import it from and design. I think it's line 7. No, not empty. Refine Dev
There.
empty.
My bad.
Yeah, that one. Yes.
We'll just
Yeah.
so
Now
much
we
nicer.
yeah, much more nicer. So you can, of course, are very secure. Our provider will accept any email password you provide. Still valid.
Here, I'll do
valid.
my standard Richard ad example.
Yeah.
Hey, we're
So,
in.
yeah. Wait here. So we navigated to, if you check that our provider, we navigated to redirect to / in our provider, and our first page is still welcome page. If you see here, yeah, after login, yeah, redirect to. So for that
There.
also if you want to redirect users to certain page, you need to add resource definition. Let's go with resource definition. Go to app tsx again.
Sorry, where am I going?
App tsx.
Oh, okay.
Let's pass another prop to refine component. Resources, which is an array of objects. Yeah, and let's give it a name, blog dash posts. And so our resource definitions are, you just give it name and you also provide path routes. So after name, let's say list, and for list, it's gonna be slash blog dash posts. So the path we already defined. So this is telling refine this resources list page is living there. I'm gonna explain the details later. So let's replace our welcome page component with this one.
Oops. Sorry.
This one, navigate to resource component.
We're doing
Navigate to resource. Welcome page, yeah, just
oh,
navigate to resource.
I'm sorry, I'm totally lost.
It's okay. Sorry if I wasn't. So instead of welcome page component, you need to add navigate to resource component. So
is it-
replace. Yeah, I sent in the chat.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oops, sorry, I sent a wrong one. This one.
So instead of this, we're doing this.
Yeah. So let's add import. Yeah. Again, like for Remix, you have different import, but so if you go back to app again, so if you go back to root, so what it does is it checks your resources. You can of course pass resource prop to it and explicitly send some resource, but if it doesn't find any resource, it will redirect user to the first resource. Maybe we have some time to quickly add edit page. Let's do that.
Yeah.
That would be nice. So again, blog posts list. Let's add blog post edit tsx component. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's remove the hook. We are not gonna use table here. So first thing we want to do is add import form from amp design itself.
All right.
Yeah, let's replace all return definition with form. And also let's I'm gonna give you that to save some time because they are repetitive stuff and design requires. Let's add these form items as child form component.
Thank you.
I didn't send you form though, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. There.
Yeah, like you can update imports, select also from, yeah.
Funny, usually it gives me a nice prompt. I don't know why not. Oops.
I use command dot it auto imports.
Oh, really?
And
Nice.
so obviously for GraphQL, we need to have some mutation to send to your backend. I send you mutation code as well. Let's move it into our queries TS file. So normally, so you're gonna render edit form, but this is only mutation. So when all your data available, so you need another query to get existing data. We have some like nice feature there. We convert your mutation into GraphQL query to populate initial data.
Okay.
So let's here let's import use form again from let me send you here again. Refine Dev Core also has use form, but we have ant design library use form hook, which is again compatible with ant design form. Yeah, and I think you need to move it inside the component.
Yes, sir.
So again, as you can see, we have form props. Let's pass them to form component. Yeah, and finally, we need to add route definition in our app.tsx again, if we haven't already. So let me give you the definition for that to save you some time. So for resource definition, you need to add edit blog posts ID edit, and for route definition, you need to have this one.
Okay.
I'm not sure if your component name is the same, but like
Yeah, let's see.
your update. Let's go to blog post edit. Yeah.
Cool.
And we need definition. We need to also pass edit. So Refine knows where to find this edit route in resource definition. If you go top of the page, list, and yes. So like to clarify, this is not like hard requirement, but I'm gonna show you why it's useful for us. So if you go back to app, finally we need to add button. Let me give you that as well. This one in our list page, we need to add another column. So this, let me explain the code as we copy pasted. So you need to import edit button from ant design refine dev and t package. Yeah.
It is not liking this.
Oh yeah, I sorry.
All
So
good.
the thing with that, we use ID as data index because we need to know which record to edit. So we need to get ID. So we use ID and edit button again. This some like flavor that you can build yourself. But if you have I18 and like different languages translations, and I'm gonna show you if we have time left, like authorization, for example, you can say no users should be able to edit. So this edit button will be disabled by default.
Okay.
So but you can build yourself. So let's click that. Hopefully it will render our not so looking good page. So last thing I want to do is to import this one. Let's wrap our edit page with edit component from again refine dev and the package.
Is it the entire form?
Yeah, above form. Yeah, yeah. And let's close it as well. And also this save button props is coming from use form hook. I think we already imported that. Let's import edit component from refine dev and the. Yes, so let's see the page. So yeah, it looks kind of better.
What about
so
the data coming through?
yeah, exactly. Let's go with that. So let's go back to edit page again. I mean the code
Sorry.
source
Yep.
code. Use form. Where did we import use form from?
Ant D.
Yes, GQL mutation, form props, post edit mutation. Yeah, by now we should have.
What about
Yeah,
the like default
we have.
data? Oh, I guess it does have ID.
Yeah. If you go back to edit, we have some spaces. Could you delete them?
Oh, yeah. In here?
Yeah, yeah. Form item. Let's go to edit page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, we have drop down and everything. If you go draft, for example,
So if I change this to
yeah. So one thing here, if you notice that your updated component record went to the last, let's go to list page to quickly fix that.
okay,
We want to see updated updated records first. So you need to do pass this prop into use table hook. Let me explain it without like copy pasting is sometimes fine as long as you know what you're doing. So let me explain. So let's paste it first. So this use table accepts props like filters and stuff. So what we are doing here, we are adding initial sorter that is applied by default. What we say is updated at field order descending. So let's save it and refresh the page. So now we see this record first, of course, last updated record. But one thing I want to mention that if you sort by ID, for example,
mm-hmm.
in the browser, I mean,
Oh,
no,
sorry.
in the browser, let's sort by ID and add some filter, status filter, any filter, rejected. Yeah, and let's say you have these results you want to share with your colleague, and if you refresh the page, now everything is lost. So because they are not persisted in query key. So also we have an easy solution for that. For this one, you need to pass this prop to refine component. Options sync with location true. Into app in app.tsx.
Oh, yeah,
In
thank you.
app.tsx, refine component as a new prop. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go back. Now, as you can see, like we already have query parameters persisted. So if you change the filters, query params will change as well. So if you share this link, they will stay there also. And maybe I don't know how much time will left, but one final thing I want to show is adding live provider. So if you create like open edit page in a new tab, for example,
The
go to
edit page?
browser. No,
Oh,
go to
okay.
browser.
Yep.
Open edit page in a new tab. Let's keep it here. So go back to list page.
Okay.
List page. I mean in the browser again.
Oh, sorry.
So what I want to show you is that we are gonna update record with ID 5, right?
Yep.
I think. So if you update it, do something, and yeah, go back. And if you go to list page, there is nothing's changed. You cannot see updated record because you don't have real time integration.
Yep.
So it's actually easy to add with that. Should take no more than 5 minutes. But if you go back to this documentation page, again, we also have live provider. First thing you need to do is to install GraphQL VS package. Second one, yeah, let's install. And while it's being installed, let's go to documentation again. And yeah, we have real-time section there. Real-time section on the right side. Yes. So addition to that, you need to import create client from GraphQL VS. It's GraphQL WebSocket client connection, and in app.tsx, of course. Yeah, and also VS client. Yeah, instead of HTTPS, we use WebSocket protocol. Yeah, let's import live provider from exactly. Now we need to initialize VS client. If you go back to documentation, it's yeah, just that. Yeah, so now finally we need to enable live mode. Next to sync with location, you can pass live mode auto to true. It should autocomplete for you. Yes. So let's do the same thing again and see if we
Here, I'll
uh,
even let me
that
do it. Take it a little
it's all
further. Go like this.
yeah.
Hmm.
Let's check. It didn't work.
Let me refresh once just to make sure.
Oh
And
yeah,
then-
it didn't accept like render provider.
there you go.
It's real. You can change status or anything. So
I think these are sorted by status. So, oh, maybe not. Okay. So,
if you click that, did it happen? No.
no. The title did. I don't know if it's not seeing a subcategory like that.
Ah, yeah. As you said, there is a sorter, so it's not in the. I think you can just navigate to page again, like without any filters or sorters on the list page. Just blog posts, and let's try to edit ID5 again.
Yeah, there you go.
It took a bit, like we need to
Oh,
kind of
that's fantastic. You know, I really love this. So I used to work at AppRite as a DevRel as well. And the idea of like having to set up all of the different live syncing and like all of this table stuff, the having Refine just automatically do this, especially being able to put a UI wrapper already in there, like that's a huge step in my mind. So that's really cool.
yeah.
I'll be excited to try this out with some Firebase stuff. I didn't know there was a community edition with it, so I'm pretty pumped about that as a Firebase GDE. Is there anything else that I'm missing? We have just a couple minutes
Maybe
left.
one final, like Steve Jobs, one more thing. We can just try to enable this notification provider prop just
Okay.
to see the difference.
Sure.
It's the same with all other features. So you can just enable notification provider at line 38, I guess. Yeah. So let's go back to edit any record. Like it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So let's edit a record, just do something, I don't know, test or anything. And so
Oh,
now
nice.
you have success notification, error notification.
I
It's
like
also
that.
as simple as that. Like I think main benefit of Refine is our core package provides centralized contract for all other integrations. So you don't need to do bike shedding, long discussions, and
Yeah.
like this is as long as you comply with Refine's contracts, interfaces, and all, you know that it will work. It will just work. Like I don't need to do anything special. As long as I satisfy these parameters, responses, types, whatever, you know, the rest of your whole application is gonna work. Like you want to change your, I don't know, notification color to slightly something different. You just do it in a one place and it just works.
How
So
straightforward is it to like switch from ant design to material UI or something? Is it just kind of find and replace?
yeah, like it's again, it's not about refine. It's like
Right.
it's a question for how can I migrate to material UI from ant design, because as I said, refine provides hooks. So we imported use table from refine dev ant. If you're gonna use material UI, you're gonna import the same one from refine dev MUI package, and then the rest of the work is about updating your ant design imports with material UI and things like that. But you don't need to change your routes. You don't need to change your definitions, data provider, and nothing, just components.
Yep.
So we like kind
Love
of
it.
provide mix and match approach that you can put different things together and they will just work. Of course, you will need to import notification provider from MUI as well, but it's as simple as that. Like,
Yeah. Well, very cool. I really appreciate the walkthrough, and I hope everybody goes out and tries out Refine today. So thank you so much. We'll see you all next time.
yeah, thank you. For people who are interested, we have this source code of this repository. Let me send you link real quick. If they wanna, like, we skipped authorization and some stuff, but they can find the full source code here with some select options, filter by options, and stuff
And
like
I'll
that.
put the official one on our Coding Cat page as well, so you can get back to it. Very cool. All right, we'll see y'all. Thanks.
See you. Bye bye.